Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English. In our today's video, we'll deal with a topic that has been in news called as Pax Silica. Now, the notes which I will be using in our today's class, in case if you want to download them, you can go to a particular Telegram channel called as ATS Live. While you're at this channel downloading the notes, also please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Right? Now, you need to understand for the past few months, the relationship between US and India has been stressed, and this is because the trade deal which these two countries want to sign has not been signed yet, or the negotiations have not completed. Now, in the middle of this negotiation, the newly appointed US ambassador to India, Sergio Gore, he has highlighted that India would get next month the invitation to join the initiative called as Pax Silica. So we'll try to understand what is this Pax Silica initiative all about, why was India not been made a part of it up till now, and what are the circumstances that has forced United States to allow India to become a part of Pax Silica initiative. Now, first of all, let us start by understanding what is this Pax Silica initiative all about. You need to understand the word silica actually means the silicon, which is a very important commodity used for manufacturing of semiconductors. So this Pax Silica initiative is a US-led geo-economic as well as a techno-strategic alliance or initiative which is aimed at securing artificial intelligence and semiconductor supply chain by putting together the like-minded countries. These like-minded countries from the US perspective are the ones who are considered friendly and trusted. Now you need to understand what are the core objectives of the Pax Silica initiative, what this initiative wants to achieve. Now this initiative wants to reduce, first of all, the dependence of the global supply chain that has been on China, especially in the areas of semiconductors, AI infrastructure, more importantly for critical minerals and rare earth elements as well as advanced manufacturing. In addition to that, this initiative also wants to create a trusted technology ecosystem which would cover the entire supply chain for semiconductors and chip manufacturing, which includes design of semiconductor, manufacturing and fabrication of it, as well as compiling and assembling the equipments, that is basically electronic items which are using semiconductors. Similarly, it also takes care of establishing data centers and cloud infrastructure which are the core for AI based computing, as well as development of AI models and use of equipments like fiber optic cables and ICT systems. Similarly, this initiative also wants to prevent hostile control over sensitive technology. If you can recall, there is a Chinese company called as Huawei, which got a lead when it came to development of 5G technologies, and they deployed equipment across the globe, including in US and China, India. Now what happened that India and US became afraid. What if China in future denies access to these telecom services to India and US? By the virtue, it indirectly controlled the company Huawei. So this is what is the problem, why countries want to develop trusted ecosystems so that they can be tension free when it comes to deployment of critical and emerging technologies like communication, like AI, like development of semiconductors. Now, you need to understand what are the key reasons, or what were the key reasons for that matter, that led to exclusion of India initially when this Pax Silica initiative was formed. Now, there were multiple reasons. Many people say that from Washington perspective, they have a trust deficit when it comes to technology alignment with India. You need to understand India subscribed to a kind of foreign policy which is called as describing, or which is made sure to adhere to the principle of strategic autonomy. India does not want to align itself with a particular country. Rather, it takes issue-based alignments whichever power, like US, like Russia, whatever is good for India, right? Now, this strategic alignment of India, which is called as strategic autonomy, it means that India all the time is not fully aligned with each and everything what US suggests, right? So for that matter, India has continuously engaged with Russia. India has even tried to engage with China selectively, and this was seen in the case where last month India invited China to its AI Impact Summit, right? So this was the first reason which was cited by many why US did not accept India as a member of Pax Silica initiative. Similarly, many people also say that there is a capability mismatch when it comes to the capability of India on one hand and capabilities of countries who are already a part of Pax Silica initiative. Now we need to understand, even today India lacks global scale AI infrastructure cloud centers and data centers. Similarly, India even today is not a semiconductor design or equipment leaders, unlike other countries like Japan, North Korea, and Taiwan. Now, just look at the initial members Japan, Netherlands, and South Korea. They sat at a very critical choke points which are there for AI as well as semiconductors. For example, US leads in world chip design. In lithography, which is an important component used for semiconductor manufacturing, here companies from Netherlands have an edge. Similarly, when it comes to advanced fabrication, there North Korea, Japan, and Taiwan have a lead. And India is nowhere in the picture. So this was cited as a reason why India was not become a part of Pax Silica initiative. But let me tell you what was the core reason. The core reason was the trade deal negotiation which was happening between India and US. Now, US, as any other party in a negotiation, wanted to have a leverage. It wanted to have a greater or a higher position vis-a-vis India when it came to negotiation of trade deal. Now, the talks that were happening between India and US, they remained unresolved because of many issues. First of all, US wanted a greater access to Indian markets for its agricultural, horticultural, dairy as well as meat products, which India was unwilling to give. Similarly, India was without a breakthrough, and when you are negotiating a trade deal with a country, you don't want to lose out on leverage, and this is what US tried to maintain. So exclusion acted as a pressure on Indian negotiators that if you want to sign a trade deal or if you want to become a Pax Silica member, you'll have to adhere to whatever request US makes. So from India, this is unjust. From India's perspective, this is unjust. But let us put yourself in a US's position. They don't want to lose out on this leverage. So they acted, or they wanted to withhold this request from India's side in order to pressurize India's negotiator, right? So this was the key reason. Now let us understand what has changed right now in January 2026 that has forced United States to make or invite India to become a member of Pax Silica initiative. First is that US have understood that if they want to move their supply chains out of China, India remains an indispensable option. First of all, let us consider Pax Silica initiative without India. If a Pax Silica initiative were to function without India, it risks of becoming too concentrated. They would over-rely on countries which are located in East Asia like Japan, like Taiwan, like South Korea, right? And it would mean that the manufacturing as well as supply chain of this entire AI and semiconductor would be concentrated in a region. Now, these countries, although very technologically able, they do not have what India has to offer. They do not have the scale of manufacturing. They do not have abundance of skilled and semi-skilled labor. They do not have the market depth. And most importantly, the political climate in these countries are not very receptible to change. They are not very receptible to amendments as well as liberalization, right? So this is what puts India in a key position, and US realized that if it wants to create a China's alternative, they can't do so without India's participation, right? Similarly, you need to understand in the past 1 month or so, something has changed when it comes to US's investment in India. If you can recall, Microsoft promised $17.5 billion worth of investment in AI and cloud infrastructure in India, which is its largest investment anywhere in Asia. Similarly, Google or Alphabet, they promised 15 plus billion of investment in establishing AI data center in Visakhapatnam, and they would also set up a separate subsea cable energy infrastructure, as well as they are partnering with Indian companies like Bharti Airtel. So this shows that the capital has forced the political class in United States to adhere to what the capitalism wants in United States. And you need to understand, in US, the core dominance or the core dominant power is the capitalist industry. So when big data companies, when it's technology behemoths, they are making investment in India, don't you think if US government does not want India to become the Pax Silica initiative, it would be incoherence in their policy decisions, right? So that is why US's government is following what its capitalism were doing. The capitalist companies in United States, when they invested in India, they showed some kind of a confidence, and this forced the government of United States to act in line with what the capitalists wanted, right? Now, another factor that has permitted India's inclusion in the Pax Silica initiative is the alignment when it comes to objectives. Now, India for long has expressed uneasiness when it comes to China's dominance in the technology sector. As I told you, India was one of the few countries which started banning Huawei, and India also banned a very popular Chinese app called as TikTok. So this shows India was uneasy about the China's increasing presence in its technological economy. Similarly, now look at what Pax Silica initiative expressly focuses upon. It focuses on securing ICT ecosystems, it focuses on protecting data centers and optical fiber network, and it prevents access by countries of concern, which exactly is China. So when both of these countries' objective align, and the objective of India's security and objective of Pax Silica security align, so it makes perfect sense to include India as a member of Pax Silica initiative, right? And the most hurdling factor, the most factor that created hurdles in inclusion of India in Pax Silica initiative, that is the signing of trade deal. It is near closure right now. Now, Ambassador Sergio Call, his statement makes a perfect sense. He said that the trade call is scheduled, and this is why the invitation was announced, and full membership of India to Pax Silica would be completed next month. So this gives you an idea why I said the trade deal negotiations were the primary reason why India was excluded from Pax Silica initiative. So this trade uncertainty was the primary block, and once negotiations of trade deal have stabilized, exclusion became counterproductive. So Pax Silica, according to US, was used as a strategic glue to deal with the economic friction that has emerged between the relations of India and US because of non-completion of the trade deal negotiation. Now, what does India stand to benefit? India, first of all, makes many strategic gains. India enters into a structured or a trusted AI semiconductor network, which will be provided by like-minded countries and its companies. India reduces its exposure to Chinese technological dominance, and from the long-term perspective, India would be in a position to become a part of AI governance, which it would not have been the case had India been excluded from Pax Silica initiative. Similarly, India also stands to gain economically. The joint ventures and co-investment that is a result of these Pax Silica initiative would naturally benefit India. It would allow India to become a dominant player in the AI as well as semiconductor industry. Also, there will be many spillover benefits in energy sector, in logistics and minerals, because this semiconductor also includes trusted supply of critical minerals and rare earth elements. Presently, China, which has a stranglehold over it. Similarly, it also would lower dependence for key technological initiatives that India has right now on countries like China. So this is how India stands to benefit both strategically as well as economically. Now, what is the crux of this discussion? Pax Silica initiative, we need to understand it's not an exclusive club. Rather, it is a gatekeeping mechanism for future tech power. And when India enters into this gate, India stands to benefit both strategically and economically. And India's exclusion was not something ideological. It was an instrument which was used to make India sign the trade deal, right? Similarly, India's exclusion is not driven by the necessity of India. Rather, it is driven by what US wants from India. US has realized that once they decouple from China, they need an alternative, and they won't find any alternative better than India. Similarly, the impossibility of China minus supply chain without India highlights that any initiative by US in technological domain, in strategic domain, in economic domain would have to include India. And irreversible US investments which were made by Microsoft, which were made by Google in Indian AI infrastructure force the government to stand in line. So India is not been invited because it is now ready. Rather, India has been invited because it is unavoidable. Right? So this was our today's discussion on Pax Silica initiative. I have a question that I've curated exactly on the lines of UPSC initiative, but you need to understand few things. The topic that we discussed right now, it is an intersection between science and technology, economy and IR. And in UPSC mains, you need to have the ability to navigate through multiple subjects and provide a comprehensive answer in your answer writing. And you'd get this ability once you subscribe to our Resolution Plus batches. In our Resolution batches, we cover all the important subjects in our mains answer writing will help you teach how to product important linkages across the subjects GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4 likewise, right? And these batches right now you can take admissions in January batches which have already started, and the batches and its admission would close on 15th of January. Please make sure to take the admission. There are two separate batches, one for 2027 and another one for 2028. If you want to take the admission, please use this code ATS Live, will help you fetch maximum discounts. And this was the question as promised. Please try to solve this question and do let me know the correct answer in the comment section. The ones who answer correctly would get a thumbs up from my side. And if you want to download the notes, you can go to this particular Telegram channel called as ATS Live. And while you're at it, please do not forget to subscribe to it. So this is all from my side. Please have a very good night. We'll see each other again tomorrow on the same time, same place.